Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the District. I am Erick Allen, Cobb County Commissioner for District 2, and today I have a very, very exciting conversation and actually the privilege and honor to do the first sit-down interview with our new police chief. James Ferrell was appointed on this past Tuesday, and he is 36 hours into the job, and we are very excited to see the change and the progress that he's going to make in Cobb County. So with that, I want to welcome you, sir, and let me shake your hand and congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Making that appointment.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah,
and,
no problem.
I believe this is the first podcast that I've ever done, and so breaking new ground.
Probably the first of many firsts that you'll have as the new chief of Cobb County. But what does this mean to you? I just want to start with, what does this mean to you to hit this pinnacle of your career?
Wow, it's most of the time in your career you look at you're being promoted from one rank to the next rank, and you're moving up, and after 29 years, I think this is so different, and it's not a promotion. It's not about the rank. It's not about the title. It's about taking 29 years of things that you've been doing and learning in your department and being in a position to actually do things. And you're in a position to take all that knowledge, all that experience, and actually put it to work inside your department and see how you can kind of shape that department on your way out. So it's certainly not like a promotion. It's like a huge opportunity. And when it comes in, so it feels totally different.
Yeah, and all 29 of those years have been with Cobb County. I mean, you started your career on a beat in Cobb County, and now you've grown. How is that going to help you in how you lead our force?
In every police department, everything's a little bit different, and there's different traditions. Their communities are different, and over time, you'll see your department evolve. They change. They have different needs, different growth patterns, different traditions develop. Community does the exact same thing, and. So not only was I working in this department and growing up in this department, I was also growing up in our community. And so I got to see Cobb County change. And, I grew up in Cobb County in the early 70s. I was a kid, graduated from McEachern High School. And so I've watched our community evolve. I've watched our department evolve. And I've done that by moving through different ranks and different jobs and different assignments in the department, and also different activities that I've done in the community. And so it's time now you can combine those two together. Know what you know about our community, take your vision of what you see in that department, and try to mold those two and shape those two together.
So one of the things that I know you've talked about, and I've talked with you about, since I've been sworn in May, you've been the only chief we knew. You were acting chief starting in May, all the way through now being chief. And you've really done some good things within the department to, as you talk about, the department has grown, it's changed. One of the things that you talked about was women on the force and how they return to work after giving birth. Talk a little bit about that program. I found that very fascinating and innovative.
Yeah, so when I first became the interim chief, and actually before I applied for the job or anything, and it was brought to my attention that women face different challenges in law enforcement than men, and especially after childbirth, and that they face different challenges. And I thought, well, I'm a dad, and I've had children. I've had 2 children while I've been a police officer. I know what it's like. And but I was open-minded about it, and I sat down and we actually formed our first group meeting, and we were meeting with about a dozen of our female police officers at a time, and started asking them, what are your experiences at? What are your challenges? I found out I knew absolutely nothing about the challenges that some women faced after childbirth and coming back, and from being off the road for an extended period of time to going through the changes of becoming a mother, and how that's different than becoming a father, and and then trying to come back to work. I've not been on the road in a year sometimes. I'm a new mom, and then all of a sudden I'm a police officer again tonight. So today I'm mom, and when I come back, from that time, I'm a police officer immediately. And how does that translate mentally, when you come back to work? And there are a lot of challenges that they face. So we've done about 6 different meetings now, and with different groups of officers from around the department, to a point that we're actually going to be able to shape a policy out of it, and to make that transition easier. When you go out and you give birth and you're coming back as a mom, we want you to come back to our department, and we want that transition to be comfortable when you come back. And so allowing some options when they come back into the workforce so that they're comfortable going back out and doing this job again.
And another thing that you've talked about is where and how you recruit to bring people into the department. How do you see that being as a priority
Yeah, and that's some of the things that we talked about. And, in that meeting, it's about transitioning back, obviously, from giving birth, because that is very unique. But it's also about how do we attract women that want to come to work in law enforcement. And then once we attract them and get them here, how do we keep them? And because those two play together. And so I want to retain you, and I want you to continue working and growing professionally within our department. Even after you become a mother, I want to see that continued growth go through there. But how do we attract you in the first place? And there are a lot of women that, what I've learned, shy away from law enforcement because they feel like that they're not welcome in law enforcement. And, that, they won't accept me, they don't want me to be there, I'll find a different type of career. And from talking to our female police officers now, I've kind of found out that they were recruited a lot of times because they met a female police officer and they had a good, courageous conversation with her about what's your job like. And then they learn, I can do this job. I am welcome to come in this job. There is a spot in law enforcement for me to come in. And so that's what brought them into our department and made them become a police officer. And before that conversation, they've all told me, no, I was probably going to go a different direction in my life. I wasn't going to be here. So
that's good. One of the, we face a lot of challenges. I won't say one of them. One of the biggest challenges we face is our homeless population.
Oh, absolutely.
What role does the police department play in helping us not only gain compliance but also compassion?
It's a tough one to balance. And us as police officers, we're public servants. We definitely have compassion for the people that are homeless, they're on hard times, and they're there for a lot of different reasons. And there's a background that every person has. When you meet them and you talk to them, there's a different background that applies to every individual, and you want to help those individuals. One of the big challenges that we faced are there resources available. And we have several nonprofits in the county that certainly reach out and do what they can for the homeless population, but they can only do so much as well. And then they've tapped their resources out. So as a police officer, balancing out having that compassion, but also having the other side of that where other members of the community may be complaining about the homeless population, things that are happening around their neighborhoods or their homes with the homeless population. So for us, the biggest challenge as a police department is how do we balance that out? And where we're still compassionate with the homeless population and we're still understanding for them as a human being and in the situation that they're in, and also understand that the homeowners and the neighbors also have concerns that they're facing, and they may not be as compassionate sometimes in that area. And then how do we support our nonprofits that are in the county to help them to serve more people and to help with the whole situation? So it's truly a balancing act in law enforcement.
Yeah, and you mentioned the other night in your press conference about community outreach, being more aggressive, reaching out to the community, especially our youth in Cobb County. What are your plans to execute on that?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in our youth programs, and if you've talked to me once, you've heard me say it 1,000 times that I believe that our youth are our future. And time goes by really quick. We're here for a brief moment, and then we're not, and there's someone else that's sitting in your seat, right? And so how are we preparing our young people to sit in the seats that we're sitting in today? And are they ready? Are they being developed for it? Are they getting that leadership mindset? Are they getting that servant mindset? What are we doing to do that? And as a police department, I feel that we have an obligation to be a part of that as well. And, we interact with youth a lot of times in the wrong ways, and because they've gone down the wrong direction. I want to also interact with them in the right ways and very positive ways to help build those leadership skills. One of the things that I know I'm going to start is a youth council. And so that we meet with the youth council, they meet with police officers, but it's going to be a little different. I do want it to be service-based, and where we learn what it means to serve the community. We may have a service project that the council does, and so that when we end our time together, it's going to end with a project that we all work together. So police officers and our young kids, hand in hand, going out and doing a project together. And, because we feel that we accomplished something at the end that we can actually look at and see we did. I believe that's very important because, number one, it teaches a little bit of a different mindset when you look at the community, like what you can do together, and the importance of relationships and between law enforcement and our young people, and the importance of public service. And I believe everybody, no matter what you can do, can enhance our public through just a little bit of service. And, so I want them to kind of get that service mindset, that partnership mindset, what we can accomplish together that we can't do individually. And so I really want to do that. I would love to do a youth citizen police academy where we bring our young people in. They get to go through and learn about the police department. Most of them that I ever talked to, very interested in forensics, very interested in technology. They always want to go out with our crime scene techs. They always want to see the real-time crime center. Take them and really immerse them in a program that will let them see all the different technological sides of the police department and what we do, and hopefully spark their interest in coming in one day and wanting to serve the community as a police officer. And because, like I said, they're our future leaders.
Yeah, it's a recruitment tool.
Absolutely.
It's a recruitment tool.
Absolutely.
What else should we see? What else do you think we'll see within the police department in the coming months? Yeah.
So for me personally, I have really three main areas that I coming in the door that I know I want to focus on. One, we've talked about our community outreach. That one's very important to me with the youth programs that we're going to put in place. The next is going to be the technology. We're going to push our technology and continue to do that because in today's world, that's a true force multiplier for the police department. And we've seen the impact that technology has on making communities safer. And because we have the evidence to show that, the data to show how successful we've been. But the next area that I really want to work on is our workforce. And, we have two communities. I have the community that I serve externally. All right. I also have the community that I serve internally. We have over 800 employees in the police department. We're a community within ourselves. And I believe we need to reinvest in that community equally as much as we invest in the community outside. And so I certainly want to help our workforce to become the best version of themselves that they can, mentally, physically, financial wellness, opportunity for professional growth, a good even playing field. If you want to be transferred from one unit to another, you're going to have an opportunity for that assignment here. I want our officers to see this as a career path, not just a job. And you're more than a badge number to me. You're actually the most important thing that we have in this county, which is our staff who goes out and does this job every single day. And I truly feel like the sacrifices that the men and women make on the road as a leader in the department, I need to invest wholly in those employees and give them everything I can, give them my best, and give them the best opportunity to succeed.
That's a solid top three to focus on. So we'll end with a very personal question because I know how much it's meant to me when I've been sworn in of different things to have my family, my wife beside me, but having your wife with you on Tuesday, Katie, I believe is her name, pin you for the first time with your Chiefs badge. What did that mean? And to have your brother and father there who are also police chiefs.
It couldn't have come together in my mind. I would have never imagined it coming together like that. It was perfect. And, it was overwhelming in a lot of ways. There's so many things that go through your head and you're trying to capture those moments in your mind and as they're going through. But to have my wife pin me, she's my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader. She is truly the person, my sounding board every day to talk to. But to have my father there, to have my mother there, to have my brother there, my whole family there. Also with my father and brother's careers, and we've all followed the same career paths throughout our lives. To have that all culminate into one event was truly amazing. And it was, from a professional standpoint, one of the best days of my life. So
that's awesome. Well, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
On the force, and I know that your leadership will be welcomed and be very successful.
A lot of work to do.
A lot of work, but we're here to support you. So
thank you very much
for being here, and thank you all for being with us on this episode of Inside the District. We'll see you next time.